How to control your mind, learning to defeat your demons and overcome your thoughts. You are about to step into a space where no one can touch your mind. Where chaos has ruled, where fear has whispered, where doubt has chained you, you are about to reclaim it. Right now, in this moment, you have a choice. You can allow your thoughts to continue dragging you through the same loops, the same distractions, the same self-sabotage. Or you can rise. You can stand as the architect of your own inner world, as the commander of your mental territory. That's the key. You don't need their permission. You don't need anyone to validate your strength. Your authority begins here, within the quiet recesses of your mind. The mind is your greatest battlefield, but it is also your most powerful weapon. Every thought is a signal, every emotion is data, and every impulse is a test of sovereignty. Most people hand over control without realizing it. They follow habits that weaken, beliefs that limit, fears that paralyze. But not you. From this moment forward, your inner world will no longer be a playground for distraction. It will be a fortress. Every small choice is mental conditioning. Every pause, every decision, every silent observation shapes the version of yourself that walks through the world with clarity over chaos, discipline over impulse. Where your attention goes, your life follows. You are learning to command that attention. You are learning to bend the mind to your will. This audiobook is not about shallow motivation. It is not about fleeting hype or empty cheer. This is a training ground for your identity, a blueprint for self-command. You will discover how to identify the mental demons that sabotage your decisions. You will learn to separate yourself from thoughts and emotions that do not serve you. You will install frameworks that structure your attention, fortify your focus, and strengthen your inner authority. You will condition your mind to respond with precision, not reaction. To feel without being consumed. To act without hesitation. Master the inner world, and the outer world obeys. That is your path. That is your right. By the end of this journey, your relationship with your own mind will change. You will no longer be a passive observer. You will no longer be swayed by every fleeting thought. You will become the silent commander, the unwavering observer, the disciplined architect of your life. You will see how every decision, every pause, every moment of stillness, every intentional choice, sculpts the identity you are meant to inhabit. This is your mental sovereignty. This is your inner power. And it starts with this commitment, to yourself, to your mind, to the discipline of thought. You have a choice. Step in. Claim it. Command yourself. If you are ready to walk this path, to learn how to control your mind, to defeat the demons that have held you in place, then continue with me. There is no turning back, because this is the moment your inner authority awakens. Your mind is a tool, a weapon, a battlefield, and a sanctuary. And from here, it will obey you. Before we begin, I invite you to commit to this practice. Listen actively. Apply consistently. Reflect intentionally. Repeat until your identity reshapes, until your inner world becomes a fortress. Like this video, subscribe to this channel, and prepare to step into the mental mastery you are always capable of claiming. Chapter 1. Understanding the Mind, Your Greatest Battlefield. Your mind has been both your greatest ally and your greatest enemy. Right now, the way you think, the way you react, the way you allow impulses to take hold, it is all the result of choices made long before you even recognize them. That's the first truth. The battlefield of your life is not outside, it is inside. And until you claim it, until you understand it, the world will continue to dictate the limits of who you are. You have a choice. That's the key. Every thought that rises, every whisper of fear, every tug of doubt, it is a test. And the test is simple. Will you obey it, or will you command yourself? The mind is a tool, a weapon, and a tyrant, all at once. Its power is absolute, but it is power you can harness. Right now, some part of you may feel like your thoughts are random, like they appear without reason, like they control you. That is a lie. Thoughts are signals. Every single one is a product of conditioning, of repetition, of unseen patterns that have trained you to follow rather than to lead. The moment you understand this, you step out of the crowd of the unconsciously obedient. You begin to watch, to separate, to assess. You become the observer. You become the commander. And once you do, the mental demons, the self-doubt, the fear, the guilt, the anger, the anxiety, lose their grip. You don't need their permission to exist beyond them. You don't need their approval to assert your authority over yourself. Most people live with their minds hijacked. Every reaction, every burst of emotion, every judgment is the mind acting without your input. But here is the core truth: your mind is not your enemy. Your lack of command is. That is the truth you must anchor. Without recognition of this, without the conscious decision to claim mastery, you remain passive. And passivity is surrender. You are not here to surrender. You are here to take control. Clarity over chaos. Discipline over impulse. That is your mantra, your foundation, your first command. Begin by recognizing the patterns that have unconsciously shaped your behavior. Notice how your attention has been pulled by distractions, by fears, by narratives that do not serve you. That inner dialogue, the constant chatter, the what-ifs, the I can't, these are the demons. Not the thoughts themselves, but the automatic obedience to them. And here is the first separation you must make: you are not your thoughts. You are the observer of your thoughts. You are the commander evaluating the battlefield before engaging. From this perspective, you gain a clarity that most never experience. You gain sovereignty over your inner world. You create a space where reaction is no longer default. You create a space where decision is deliberate. Now, let's establish a mental framework, a structure that begins your control. I call this the observation command system. Step 1. Pause. Every time a thought arises, pause. Do not react. Do not feed it. Observe it. Note its origin, its pattern, its emotional energy. Step 2. Label. Identify the nature of the thought. Is it fear, doubt, frustration, impatience? Step 3. Evaluate. Ask yourself, does this thought serve my identity? Does it strengthen my command, or does it weaken it? Step 4. Redirect. If it weakens, you do not engage. If it serves, you act decisively. That is your mental gatekeeping. That is how sovereignty begins. Every small choice is mental conditioning. Every pause, every evaluation, every redirect strengthens the command you exert over yourself. Now it is time for practical training. Begin with 10 minutes a day of intentional observation. Sit quietly. Allow thoughts to arise. Label them. Do not engage, do not resist, simply observe. As you practice, you will notice patterns. Certain fears always appear at certain times. Certain doubts always return. This is valuable intelligence. It is the map of your battlefield. You are gathering data. You are training the commander within. The goal is not to eliminate all thoughts, that is impossible, but to eliminate automatic surrender to them. To stand firm. To decide consciously. Identity reinforcement comes next. Every time you observe without reacting, repeat to yourself, I am not my thoughts. I command myself. This is not a mantra for comfort. It is a declaration of authority. It is the language of the warrior mind. Each repetition strengthens your self-concept, rewires your internal narrative, and installs new standards. Your identity begins to shift, from passive observer of life to active architect of it. The mental demons will still appear. That is inevitable. But now, you meet them as a commander, not as a victim. You do not fear them. You do not worship them. You control the interaction. That is power. Daily, you will return to this practice. Pause. Observe. Label. Evaluate. Redirect. Declare, I command myself. Every small choice is mental conditioning. Let this loop of practice condition your mind until it is automatic, until it is unconscious, until your identity itself embodies sovereignty. Your thoughts will no longer have free rein. Your emotions will no longer dictate your actions. You are the authority. That is the core truth of this chapter. Mastery begins with observation, and observation begins with the decision to no longer obey by default. As we transition to the next chapter, carry this principle with you. Your mind is the battlefield, but you are the commander. Every thought that rises is an opportunity to assert control. Every impulse is a test of discipline. Every pause, every evaluation, every conscious decision is a step toward freedom. This is the first stage of mental mastery. This is the awakening of identity through command. This is your beginning. The next chapter will teach you the nature of thoughts themselves, how they are formed, and how to use this knowledge to defeat the patterns that have controlled you. Your mind is ready. The battlefield is clear. Command yourself. Master the inner world, and and the outer world obeys. Chapter 2: The Nature of Your Thoughts. Your mind is not a passive recorder. It is an engine, a generator, a relentless creator of realities. Every thought that rises is an echo of patterns, of experiences, of decisions you have made, both consciously and unconsciously. Some of these thoughts empower you. Some of them weaken you. That distinction is critical. You have a choice. You don't need their permission to determine which thoughts define your day, your decisions, your identity. That is the key. Right now, recognize that the mind is producing continuously. Thoughts are not accidental. They are signals. They are indicators of energy, attention, and conditioning. If you remain unconscious, you follow them blindly. If you step into awareness, you command them. That is the power of knowing the nature of your thoughts. Thoughts are not facts. They are not mandates. They are not you. They are stimuli, generated by your brain to interpret, predict, and respond to your environment. But the mind does not distinguish between truth and fiction. It reacts. It ruminates. It loops. And if left unchecked, it creates cycles of fear, doubt, regret, and distraction. This is where most people fail. They believe their thoughts are commands, and they obey automatically. But that is an illusion. The truth is, you can choose which thoughts you honor, which thoughts you redirect, which thoughts you allow to pass without engagement. This is the foundation of mental sovereignty. Now understand that thoughts emerge from two primary sources: the conscious and the unconscious. Conscious thoughts are those you actively produce, the ideas you deliberately focus on. They are precise, intentional, and observable. Unconscious thoughts, however, operate in the shadows. They are patterns formed by habit, by repeated reaction, by emotional memory. These are the ones that sneak in, that influence your mood, your decisions, your behavior without notice. Recognizing this distinction is critical because mastery begins with awareness. You must see the currents beneath the surface, not just the waves above. Here is a practical reframing. Every intrusive thought, every automatic reaction, every sudden wave of doubt is not a failure, it is information. It is data. It tells you where your attention has wandered, where old patterns are still active, where conditioning is still running unchecked. You are not failing when these thoughts appear. You are learning. You are gathering intelligence. And with that intelligence, you can act deliberately. You are the observer. You are not the thought. You are not the impulse. You are the commander evaluating the signals before acting. So install this mental framework to operate with this awareness. I call it the thought map protocol. First, notice a thought. Label it immediately. Is it fear, anger, judgment, doubt, distraction? Second, trace its origin. Ask, where did this come from? Habit? Memory? Expectation? Third, decide its value. Does this thought serve the identity you are building? Does it strengthen your command, your focus, your clarity? If yes, act with precision. If no, disengage. Redirect. Release. Fourth, reinforce identity. Each time you apply this protocol, you reinforce that you are not reactive. You are disciplined. You are in control. Every small choice is mental conditioning. This simple structure rewires the mind from being a wild generator of chaos into a tool that obeys your command. Take 5 moments today to observe your thoughts with this method. Begin small. During work, during a break, during a walk, notice the thoughts that arise. Pause. Label. Evaluate. Redirect. With repetition, this becomes automatic. You build a mental reflex to recognize patterns before they dictate your behavior. You develop clarity over chaos. Discipline over impulse. This is identity in action. This is mastery taking root. Identity separation is essential here. Begin saying to yourself, I am not my thoughts. I am the observer. I command the mind, it does not command me. Every thought that rises is simply a visitor. You may interact with it if it serves you, or you may let it pass. You are not the storm. You are the calm at the center. This separation rewires how you experience life. Instead of being dragged by mental turbulence, you create an inner domain where clarity, focus, and sovereignty prevail. Daily, repeat the phrases, I am not my thoughts. I command myself. Every small choice is mental conditioning. Clarity over chaos. Discipline over impulse. Say them internally as you practice the thought map protocol. These statements are not empty affirmations, they are identity reinforcement. Over time, the mind will respond automatically. Intrusive thoughts will no longer hijack your decisions. Emotional waves will no longer dictate behavior. You will command the inner world, and the outer world will follow. Master the inner world, and the outer world obeys. That is your path. Recognizing the nature of your thoughts is only the beginning. Awareness alone will not defeat the mental demons. You must learn to identify them in detail, to see which patterns are destructive, which are neutral, and which are empowering. That is the next layer of mastery. You will learn to separate yourself further from recurring mental sabotage. You will learn to see the hidden impulses that shape your life without conscious choice. This is preparation for true sovereignty. You are building the foundation for self-command. You are training your mind to obey before it ever acts independently. You are building the inner authority that cannot be shaken. As you prepare to continue, remember this: the mind produces continuously. Your awareness determines which signals become actions. You have a choice. You do not need their permission to assert command over every thought, every impulse, every reaction. Observe. Label. Evaluate. Redirect. Declare your authority. Every moment is a training ground. Every thought is an opportunity to condition your mind. This is the principle you carry forward. And in the next chapter, you will learn to identify the mental demons themselves, those recurring patterns of fear, doubt, guilt, and anger, and you will begin the work of dismantling them systematically. Command yourself. Observe, and prepare to master what has secretly governed your life until now. Chapter 3. Identifying your mental demons. Every mind carries hidden forces. Some are subtle, almost invisible. Others are loud, demanding, impossible to ignore. These are the mental demons, the patterns, fears, and doubts that have been quietly shaping your choices without your awareness. They are not external. They are internal. And until you identify them, they will continue to run the show. That is the first truth. The enemy is not outside. It is inside. You have a choice. You don't need their permission to confront it. You don't need validation to name it. Recognition is power. Observation is authority. This is the point where awareness shifts into mastery. Mental demons are simply recurring thoughts, impulses, or emotional patterns that consistently undermine your clarity, discipline, and self-command. They show up as fear that immobilizes, doubt that corrodes confidence, guilt that distracts, anger that consumes, anxiety that paralyzes. They are familiar because they are old, conditioned, repetitive. And familiarity is dangerous because it lulls you into obedience. You obey because you think resistance is too difficult. But here is the principle: you are stronger than your patterns. You are the commander. You are the observer. You are not your demons. That separation is essential. Begin by observing without judgment. The first step to identification is neutral awareness. Sit quietly. Let thoughts rise naturally. Watch which ones trigger strong emotional reactions. Which thoughts pull you away from clarity and discipline. These are your demons. They will appear in familiar forms: self-doubt whispering, "You're not enough." Fear warning, "This will fail." Anger erupting over minor irritations. Anxiety filling moments with imagined disasters. Name them. Label them. That is fear. That is doubt. That is guilt. Recognition weakens them. It draws a boundary between you and the habitual power they have exercised. Here is where cognitive reframing becomes essential. The moment you notice a mental demon, you see the hidden sabotage. Fear is not your enemy. It is information about where your attention has wandered. Doubt is not failure. It is a signal of an unmet standard. Guilt is not punishment. It is feedback that something within your system requires evaluation. Anger is not weakness. It is energy waiting for disciplined direction. Anxiety is not doom. It is a rehearsal for discipline under pressure. Every mental demon carries intelligence. Your task is to separate from the chaos and extract its value without surrendering to its demands. You are not the storm. You are the observer at the center. Install a mental framework for identification. I call this the demon mapping system. Step 1. Observe. Let the thought or emotion appear. Step 2. Label. Assign it a category: fear, doubt, anger, guilt, anxiety, distraction. Step 3. Trace the pattern. Where does it typically arise? Time of day, situation, trigger? Step 4. Evaluate impact. Does it weaken your focus, your discipline, your clarity? Step 5. Implement containment. Create a mental boundary. I notice you. You do not control me. Step 6. Redirect attention to identity-based action. Every repetition strengthens your command. Every moment you apply this system, you are installing mental sovereignty. Begin a daily journal focused solely on mental demons. Document recurring thoughts, the triggers that provoke them, the intensity of your reaction, and your response. Categorize each pattern. Observe the subtle shifts when you apply boundaries. Record your victories, even small ones, when a previously automatic reaction is paused, evaluated, and redirected. This is not an exercise in self-criticism. This is training. Every small choice to observe and redirect is mental conditioning. Every refusal to obey a demon is a reinforcement of identity. This is how you become untouchable in your own mind. Identity separation remains the foundation. Every time a mental demon arises, repeat, I am not this thought. I am not this fear. I command myself. This is my inner domain. Establishing this observer identity is essential. The mind will continue to generate challenges, but your inner authority grows stronger with every deliberate pause. You are no longer reactive. You are precise. You are disciplined. You are sovereign. That is the identity you are installing, one pattern, one observation, one choice at a time. Each morning, each evening, and each moment of stress, recall, I identify my mental demons. I observe without reaction. I evaluate. I command. Every small choice is mental conditioning. Clarity over chaos. Discipline over impulse. These phrases are not empty words. They are training protocols. They encode identity into your nervous system. They create an internal narrative where you are not victim, not observer alone, but commander. Mental demons lose their control because you no longer grant it. You meet each one from a position of authority. You neutralize habitual power through conscious attention. Master the inner world, and the outer world obeys. Identification alone does not defeat demons, it informs the battle. Once you know their forms, their triggers, their patterns, you can implement systems to neutralize them before they influence your behavior. You will learn to observe without attachment, to pause without panic, to redirect without hesitation. That is the next chapter, the power of awareness. You will discover how to watch your thoughts and emotions without reaction, how to meet every mental challenge with clarity, and how to solidify the observer identity until it becomes your default mode of operation. Step into this process with purpose. Observe the mental demons that have shaped your decisions, acknowledge their presence without surrender, and declare, you do not control me. I command myself. Every small choice is mental conditioning. Clarity over chaos. Discipline over impulse. That is the identity you are building. That is the foundation of your mental sovereignty. The battlefield is clear. The commander is present. The next stage awaits. Chapter 4. The Power of Awareness. Watching without reacting. You are standing at the edge of a choice every moment of your life. Every thought, every emotion, every impulse rises like a wave, and your reaction determines the shape of your inner world. Most people crash into those waves, letting fear, doubt, and impulse dictate their decisions. You are not most people. You have a choice. That's the key. You don't need their permission to command yourself. You don't need external validation to establish sovereignty over your mind. You are about to learn the power of awareness, the skill of watching without reacting, and the art of commanding from the calm center of observation. Awareness is control. When you watch your thoughts without attachment, without judgment, without immediate reaction, you create distance. That distance is authority. That distance is clarity. That distance is freedom. Most people confuse awareness with passive observation, but it is not passive. Awareness is active. It is deliberate. It is the act of commanding your mind by choosing exactly what rises to influence your behavior and what you allow to pass unnoticed. Where your attention goes, your life follows. That is the principle you anchor here. Begin by reframing what it means to observe. The mind will continue to generate noise, fear, regret, anxiety, doubt, distraction. These thoughts are inevitable. They are not weaknesses. They are data. They are signals. The skill is in the pause. In the moment between stimulus and response, you insert authority. You watch, you assess, you evaluate. You do not react automatically. You do not obey the mental tyrant that has controlled you for years. You are the commander. You are the observer. This separation changes everything. Install the observer command framework. Step 1. Pause. Every time a thought, impulse, or emotional surge arises, stop. Do not engage. Step 2. Observe. Note the quality of the thought or emotion: fear, doubt, anger, guilt, distraction. Step 3. Assess. Ask yourself, does this serve the identity I am building? Does it strengthen command, focus, clarity, discipline? Step 4. Redirect. If it serves, act decisively. If it does not, allow it to pass. Step 5. Reinforce identity. Declare internally, I am not this thought. I command myself. Every small choice is mental conditioning. This is not theoretical. It is practical. It is active. It is the exercise of inner authority. Now, cognitive reframing is essential. Thoughts often demand reaction because of habit, because the mind has been conditioned to respond immediately. Fear wants you to shrink. Doubt wants you to freeze. Anger wants you to lash out. Anxiety wants you to overcomplicate. The skill of awareness is in neutralizing these automatic commands. You do not resist. You do not feed them. You simply observe and decide consciously. Observation is not avoidance. It is dominance. You are no longer subject to the tyranny of automatic thought. You are free to act with precision, focus, and deliberate power. Begin with short blocks of observation, 5 minutes sitting quietly, noticing every thought without judgment, without engagement. Label them: fear, doubt, distraction, anger, curiosity, impulse. Pause. Assess. Redirect. Over time, extend these observation blocks into real-life moments, during conversations, at work, during exercise, in moments of stress. Notice the thoughts that arise. Pause. Label. Assess. Redirect. Command. Every repetition builds the neural pathways of authority. Every pause reinforces identity. Every deliberate choice strengthens sovereignty. Identity separation is critical. You must repeat internally, I am not my thoughts. I am not my impulses. I command myself. Each thought that arises is simply a visitor, not the ruler. Each emotion is energy, not identity. Each impulse is information, not directive. By separating yourself from these automatic mental events, you establish the observer identity. This is the foundation of control. This is the beginning of mastery. You are no longer reacting unconsciously. You are responding deliberately. You are not the storm, you are the calm center from which power radiates. Each morning, each evening, and in moments of challenge, recall, I observe without reacting. I assess consciously. I command myself. Every small choice is mental conditioning. Clarity over chaos. Discipline over impulse. These phrases are not motivational fluff. They are tools of identity installation. They encode authority into your nervous system. They create an inner world where thoughts do not dictate action. Where emotional surges do not hijack focus. Where you are in control because you are always observing, always choosing, always commanding. Master the inner world, and the outer world obeys. Awareness is powerful, but by itself it is not enough. Observing without reaction sets the foundation. The next step is the ability to reframe the mental events you observe. To not only notice them, but to extract value, redirect energy, and repurpose your mental patterns toward identity-based outcomes. In other words, observation alone is the command post, but reframing and redirection are the operational strategy. That is the next chapter, reframing negative thoughts. You will learn how to take every thought, every fear, every impulse, and turn it into an instrument of power rather than a source of weakness. Watch your mind as a commander watches the battlefield. Observe without reaction. Pause without fear. Label without judgment. Redirect without hesitation. You have a choice. You don't need their permission. Every small choice is mental conditioning. Master the inner world, and the outer world obeys. You are ready to take the next step into control, into sovereignty, into deliberate command of every thought that rises within you. Chapter 5. Reframing Negative Thoughts. Every thought carries power. The difference between mastery and surrender is not in the number of negative thoughts you experience, but in how you interpret and respond to them. Most people treat every negative thought as reality. They obey fear, doubt, guilt, and criticism as if these mental events are commands rather than signals. That is the trap. That is the vulnerability. You have a choice. That's the key. You do not need their permission to reframe, to redirect, to reclaim authority. Where your attention goes, your life follows. By reframing the negative, you do not eliminate it, you convert it into fuel for clarity, discipline, and identity. Thoughts are data, not destiny. They are not mandates, they are inputs. Fear, anger, regret, and self-doubt are indicators of where your attention has wandered, where old patterns linger, where mental conditioning still operates unconsciously. When you reframe, you alter the meaning you assign to these events. You take what once weakened you and use it as a tool to strengthen your command. You convert distraction into focus, anxiety into preparation, doubt into strategy. This is not optimism. This is authority. This is sovereignty. Cognitive reframing begins with recognition. Every negative thought must be acknowledged without judgment. Do not resist it. Do not indulge it. Simply see it as a signal. Ask, what is this thought trying to tell me? What pattern is it repeating? How has it shaped my previous actions? Then separate yourself from it. Identify, I am not this thought. I am not this fear. I command myself. Once you establish this distance, the next step is deliberate interpretation. You assign a new meaning, one that serves your identity, one that strengthens your control. So, install the reframe command system. Step 1. Pause when a negative thought arises. Step 2. Observe its nature: fear, doubt, guilt, distraction. Step 3. Trace the trigger: habit, memory, expectation. Step 4. Extract the hidden value. Ask, what is this revealing about my focus, my boundaries, my discipline? Step 5. Redirect your attention toward deliberate action that reinforces your identity. Step 6. Declare your authority: this thought does not control me. I control it. Every small choice is mental conditioning. Applying this system repeatedly reshapes not just your reactions, but the architecture of your inner world. Here is where identity separation is critical. You are not your thoughts. You are not the negative impulses that arise. You are the commander observing, evaluating, and redirecting. When a fear-based thought emerges, it is not an instruction to stop. It is information. Your attention has drifted, your energy is misaligned, your inner authority is being tested. By reframing, you transform a threat into a tool. You take what once limited you and convert it into precision, into discipline, into focus. You do not eliminate discomfort, you repurpose it. That is mastery. So throughout the day, notice negative thoughts as they appear. Pause immediately. Observe without reaction. Identify the type and origin. Then consciously assign a new interpretation that serves identity and command. For example, fear of failure becomes a signal to prepare and act deliberately. Guilt becomes feedback on standards that need adjustment. Self-doubt becomes a prompt to validate your competence through action, not indulgence. Over time, these repeated reframes wire the mind to default toward sovereignty rather than surrender. Every small choice is mental conditioning. Every pause, every redirect, every deliberate interpretation strengthens the warrior identity. Each morning, repeat internally, I am not my thoughts. I reframe my impulses. Every small choice is mental conditioning. Clarity over chaos. Discipline over impulse. Each evening, review the thoughts you encountered. How did you respond? Where did you apply authority? Where could you improve? Document the recurring patterns, track your successes, and reinforce your identity through conscious repetition. This is not a mental exercise, it is mental armor. It is the cultivation of inner sovereignty that cannot be shaken by external events or internal turbulence. Transitioning into action, recognize that reframing is the bridge between awareness and discipline. Awareness allows you to observe. Reframing allows you to redirect. Every thought, every impulse, every negative event is now an instrument of your power rather than a source of weakness. You are no longer at the mercy of your mind. You are its commander. This is the foundation for emotional mastery, reaction control, and the disciplined focus that will follow in the subsequent chapters. You are building mental infrastructure that turns automatic chaos into deliberate command. Before we proceed, every negative thought is a signal, not a mandate. Every emotional surge is data, not destiny. You have a choice. You don't need their permission to redefine meaning. You don't need external validation to assert control. Pause. Observe. Reframe. Redirect. Declare authority. Every small choice is mental conditioning. Clarity over chaos. Discipline over impulse. Master the inner world, and the outer world obeys. As we move to the next chapter, remember, awareness and reframing together create the foundation for emotional mastery. The ability to feel without being consumed, to act without hesitation, to respond deliberately under pressure. This is the next stage. You will learn not only to observe and reframe, but to regulate the emotional energy that fuels your reactions. You will train your mind to pause, to assess, to command with precision. That is the path to true mental sovereignty. Reframe deliberately. Command yourself. Every thought, every impulse, every moment is training for mastery. You are ready. Chapter 6, Emotional Mastery. Controlling reactions, not emotions. Emotions are powerful. They are energy surging through the mind and body, demanding attention, seeking expression, and often dictating action before thought has a chance to intervene. Most people mistake emotions for commands. They react instantly to fear, anger, frustration, or excitement. They surrender to them, allowing the storm within to drive decisions and define identity. That ends now. You have a choice. That's the key. You don't need permission to command yourself. You don't need external validation to assert authority over your emotional state. Where your attention goes, your life follows. By mastering your reactions, you establish sovereignty over your inner world, and the outer world obeys. Emotions are energy, not identity. They are signals, not orders. They arise in response to thoughts, stimuli, and circumstances, but they do not define who you are. The key distinction is between feeling and reacting. Feeling is inevitable, reacting unconsciously is optional. Most people confuse the two. Most people believe that the intensity of a feeling requires surrender. This is false. Mastery begins the moment you observe the emotion without surrendering to it, without giving it the power to dictate action. You are not your anger. You are not your fear. You are not your frustration. You are the observer, the commander, the authority in the inner domain. Cognitive reframing begins with awareness. Every time an emotion rises, recognize it without judgment. Name it. This is anger. This is fear. This is anxiety. Then pause. Separate yourself from it. I am not this emotion. I command myself. I observe, I assess, I act deliberately. This simple separation installs identity and begins to weaken the habitual power of reactive patterns. You are no longer subject to instinct. You are deliberate. You are precise. You are sovereign. That is the foundation of emotional mastery. Install the reaction command protocol. Step 1. Pause immediately when the emotion appears. Step 2. Observe without engagement. Step 3. Label the emotion. Step 4. Assess the trigger. Ask, what thought or circumstance caused this surge? Does this serve my identity, my discipline, my command? Step 5. Decide the response. Act only if it aligns with your inner authority. Step 6. Reinforce identity with internal declaration. I command myself. I control my reactions. Every small choice is mental conditioning. This framework allows you to experience emotion fully while eliminating automatic surrender. You harness energy without being consumed. You act from precision, not impulse. Begin with simple daily exercises. Notice a fleeting frustration. Pause, label it, observe its energy, decide if it warrants action. Notice fear during uncertainty, pause, identify it, separate from it, and choose a response that reflects discipline and command rather than surrender. Expand this into more challenging situations, arguments, stress, unexpected setbacks. Apply the reaction command protocol. Each repetition strengthens neural pathways of control. Each conscious choice reinforces identity. Every small success in controlling reaction is a victory in mental sovereignty. Identity separation remains crucial. Every emotional surge is information, not instruction. Every impulse is a signal, not a mandate. Repeat internally, I am not my emotions. I observe. I assess. I command myself. This language rewires perception. You no longer define yourself by the intensity of a feeling. You define yourself by the discipline of your response. Emotional mastery is not suppression, it is refinement. It is the ability to feel fully without being driven unconsciously. It is the ability to meet chaos with clarity, to meet challenge with calm, to meet pressure with precision. That is sovereignty. Each morning, each evening, in moments of stress, and in moments of calm, repeat, I command my reactions. I am not my emotions. Every small choice is mental conditioning. Clarity over chaos. Discipline over impulse. Track your progress. Observe the moments where emotions sought to dominate and your response asserted control. Journal them. Reflect on the incremental victories. This is not fluff. It is mental conditioning. It is installation of identity. It is proof that the mind, once wild, can be trained to obey the authority it was always meant to recognize, you. Once you control your reactions, you gain leverage over the external world. Emotional mastery allows precise action under pressure, consistent focus under distraction, and deliberate decision-making under chaos. But mastery does not end here. Once reactions are controlled, the next challenge is to silence the inner critic, the recurring narrative of doubt and judgment that undermines confidence and erodes authority. That is the next chapter. You will learn to quiet mental sabotage before it influences emotion, thought, or action, and to install a default identity of self-command and authority. Emotions are signals, not commands. Pause. Observe. Label. Separate. Decide deliberately. Declare authority. Every small choice is mental conditioning. Clarity over chaos. Discipline over impulse. Master the inner world, and the outer world obeys. You are building a mind that no external pressure can hijack, a nervous system that responds deliberately, and an identity that is unshakable. Control your reactions. Feel without surrendering. Command yourself. Every emotional surge is a training opportunity. Every pause is a reinforcement of discipline. Every deliberate response is proof of sovereignty. You are ready. Chapter 7. Silencing the Inner Critic. There is a voice in your mind that has been speaking for years. Often subtle, often disguised as concern, caution, or reflection, it whispers constantly, "You're not enough. You're failing. You don't deserve this. Be careful." Most people obey this voice without realizing it. They allow it to dictate decisions, control emotions, and define identity. That stops now. You have a choice. That's the key. You don't need its permission. You don't need external validation to assert authority over it. You are the commander. You are the observer. You are not this inner critic. The inner critic is not truth. It is not you. It is conditioned noise, a habit of the mind repeating old patterns of fear, doubt, and limitation. It exists because your mind has been trained to protect, to predict, to control, but it is outdated, unnecessary, and often destructive. Its presence does not define your capability. Its arguments do not define your potential. You are stronger than the narrative it perpetuates. You have authority over it. You have control. This is the first step toward silencing it, separation and recognition. Begin by observing without surrender. When the critic speaks, label it internally, that is the inner critic. That is conditioned noise. I am not this. Pause. Separate. Do not react. Do not argue. Do not defend. Simply recognize its pattern, its tone, its attempt to influence action. This is cognitive reframing in practice. The voice is a signal, not a command. By observing it in this way, You reclaim authority over your inner narrative. You are no longer a victim of habit or fear. You are deliberate. You are precise. You are sovereign. Install the critic neutralization protocol. Step 1. Identify the inner critic whenever it arises. Step 2. Pause and observe. Step 3. Label it clearly: fear, doubt, insecurity, guilt. Step 4. Examine its purpose. What pattern is it attempting to enforce? Step 5. Redirect with authority. Replace its input with a deliberate, identity-based statement: I am capable. I am disciplined. I command myself. Step 6. Reinforce this new standard through repetition, journaling, and conscious reflection. Over time, the inner critic loses automatic influence. It becomes background noise rather than a dictator of behavior. Every small choice is mental conditioning. Every refusal to obey strengthens identity. Cognitive reframing deepens this mastery. The critic often arises from old habits, mistakes, or perceived failures. Its function is protective. It attempts to prevent perceived harm by repeating warnings, but it does so indiscriminately, without logic, without context. When you reframe, you strip it of its power. Fear of failure becomes a roadmap for preparation. Self-doubt becomes a prompt to take deliberate action. Guilt becomes feedback on values, not chains of punishment. Anger becomes energy to redirect into focus and precision. Every statement of the critic can be transformed into an opportunity for command. Throughout your day, notice moments when the inner critic speaks. Pause. Observe. Label. Redirect. Journal these moments: the trigger, the content, the intensity, and your chosen response. Reinforce identity-based statements: I am capable. I am disciplined. I command myself. Apply this even in subtle scenarios: decisions, conversations, work tasks, social interactions. Each small intervention weakens automatic obedience to the critic and strengthens your internal authority. You are no longer reactive. You are deliberate. You are sovereign. Identity separation remains central. The inner critic is not your identity. It is a mental pattern-seeking influence. Every time it arises, remind yourself, I am not this voice. I am the commander observing and choosing. I decide what governs my mind. By repeating this internally, you rewire the nervous system, changing default responses from fear and doubt to clarity and authority. The mind begins to default toward obedience to your command rather than to habitual internal sabotage. You are installing an identity where the critic is background noise, not a controlling force. Each morning and evening, and throughout moments of stress, repeat, I am not my thoughts. I am not my inner critic. I command myself. Every small choice is mental conditioning. Clarity over chaos. Discipline over impulse. Review the moments of the day when the critic appeared. Assess how effectively you redirected it. Celebrate victories, no matter how small. This practice reinforces identity and strengthens mental sovereignty. The critic loses power the more you act deliberately. Every pause, every observation, every redirection is proof of command. Once the inner critic is neutralized, fear, doubt, and emotional disruption no longer dominate your life. You will be prepared to confront broader mental demons such as fear and anxiety directly, rather than being undermined by internal sabotage. The next chapter, Overcoming Fear and Anxiety, will teach you how to face these recurring patterns with precision, calm, and authority, turning them from obstacles into opportunities for mental training. The inner critic is conditioned noise, not truth. Pause. Observe. Label. Redirect. Declare authority. Every small choice is mental conditioning. Clarity over chaos. Discipline over impulse. Master the inner world, and the outer world obeys. You are no longer subject to internal judgment. You are deliberate. You are sovereign. You command yourself. Silence the critic. Reclaim your narrative. Every thought of doubt or fear is an opportunity to assert control. Every pause, every deliberate redirection, every conscious choice is proof that you are no longer a passive observer but an active commander of your inner world. You are ready. Chapter 8: Overcoming Fear and Anxiety. Fear and anxiety are universal. They are the mind's oldest patterns, hardwired to alert, protect, and warn. Yet for most people, they are tyrants, relentless, intrusive, controlling decisions and actions, eroding confidence, and dictating behavior. Most people flee from fear. Most people resist anxiety. That is the trap. You are different. You have a choice. That's the key. You don't need their permission to step into courage. You don't need validation to assert authority over your internal state. Where your attention goes, your life follows. Confronting fear and anxiety is not avoidance. It is command. It is sovereignty. It is mastery. Fear and anxiety are signals, not mandates. They are indicators of potential challenge, of untested territory, of old patterns seeking obedience. They are energy, and energy can be directed. Fear does not define you. Anxiety does not dictate your actions. You define your responses. You choose. You command. This is the moment where observation, previously learned, transforms into deliberate action. The mental demons of fear and anxiety can be confronted, studied, and neutralized. They can be converted from obstacles into instruments of strength. Begin by observing the fear or anxiety as it arises. Do not resist. Do not argue. Pause. Name it. This is fear. This is anxiety. I am not these patterns. I command myself. Then separate yourself. See it as data. Ask, what is the trigger? Where is my attention? What habitual pattern is active? By creating this space, you strip automatic power from the mental storm. The mind is producing energy, but you choose its direction. You are not reactive. You are deliberate. You are sovereign. You are the observer at the center, calm while the storm rages. Install the fear-to-focus system. Step 1. Recognize the fear or anxiety immediately. Step 2. Pause and observe without judgment. Step 3. Label its type: anticipatory anxiety, social fear, performance fear, uncertainty, or risk-based worry. Step 4. Trace the source: habitual pattern, past experience, or imagined consequence. Step 5. Reframe the energy. Ask, how can this fear serve my discipline, my focus, my command? Step 6. Redirect this energy into deliberate action or controlled preparation. Step 7. Reinforce identity: I am stronger than my fear. I command myself. Every small choice is mental conditioning. Applying this system transforms anxiety from a chain into a tool, from chaos into control. Cognitive reframing is essential. Most fear is exaggerated. It projects future pain, failure, or judgment that may never materialize. Anxiety is rehearsal of worst-case scenarios, a mental loop seeking attention. By reframing, you neutralize their automatic dominance. Fear becomes information: this is where preparation is needed. Anxiety becomes a signal: this is where focus is required. They are no longer tyrants. They are data. They are alerts, not mandates. And when paired with deliberate action, these patterns strengthen identity rather than erode it. Begin small. Identify a minor fear: speaking up in a meeting, starting a difficult task, addressing a personal challenge. Pause. Observe. Label. Reframe: this is preparation energy. I can direct it deliberately. Take one controlled action aligned with your command. Reflect afterward: what did this fear teach you? How did redirection reinforce identity? Gradually escalate exposure: medium fear, larger challenges, emotionally charged scenarios. Each repetition strengthens sovereignty. Each deliberate action diminishes automatic surrender. Each small victory rewires the mind to respond with clarity rather than panic. Identity separation remains central. Fear and anxiety are patterns. They are not you. Repeat internally: I am not my fear. I am not my anxiety. I command myself. Every small choice is mental conditioning. With repetition, this statement becomes default language. Automatic reactions to fear are replaced with deliberate pauses, observations, and actions. Emotional energy is no longer a dictator, it is a resource. You transform the mind from reactive to responsive, from chaotic to controlled. This is mastery. Each morning and evening, recall moments where fear or anxiety arose. Review your response. Assess: did you pause? Did you observe? Did you redirect energy deliberately? Reinforce identity with internal statements. I am stronger than my fear. I am sovereign. I command myself. Every small choice is mental conditioning. Clarity over chaos. Discipline over impulse. Each day builds the neural framework of courage, precision, and sovereignty. Fear loses automatic control. Anxiety becomes manageable energy. You act decisively while others react unconsciously. Once fear and anxiety are confronted and redirected, the mind is prepared for sustained focus and discipline. The energy previously consumed by internal struggle can now be allocated to deliberate attention, mental resilience, and mastery of thought. The next chapter, Strengthening Mental Focus, will teach precise methods to harness attention, eliminate distraction, and channel energy toward identity-based outcomes. By mastering fear and anxiety, you free the mind to act with clarity, precision, and deliberate command. Fear and anxiety are signals, not mandates. Pause. Observe. Label. Reframe. Redirect. Declare authority. Every small choice is mental conditioning. Clarity over chaos. Discipline over impulse. Master the inner world, and the outer world obeys. You are building a mind that no internal disturbance can hijack. You are cultivating nervous system control under pressure. You are installing an identity that is unshakable. Confront fear deliberately. Redirect anxiety consciously. Command yourself in every moment. Every surge of fear is a training opportunity. Every pause and deliberate action strengthens sovereignty. Every small victory reinforces identity. You are ready. Chapter 9. Strengthening Mental Focus. Your mind is the most powerful tool you possess, but power is useless without direction. Scattered attention, fragmented focus, and uncontrolled impulses are silent saboteurs. They drain energy, erode discipline, and allow distraction to dictate outcomes. Most people drift, allowing thoughts to wander, impulses to hijack action, and attention to fracture. That ends now. You have a choice. That's the key. You don't need permission to reclaim focus. You don't need validation to command your attention. Where your attention goes, your life follows. Strengthening focus is not optional, it is the foundation of mastery. Attention is a muscle, and like any muscle, it must be trained. Focus is not about eliminating distraction, it is about directing mental energy deliberately, consistently, and with precision. Every thought you allow to dominate your mind is either training or weakening your mental authority. Every small decision to redirect attention is conditioning. Every moment spent deliberately observing and choosing strengthens neural pathways that define clarity, discipline, and identity. Master the mind's focus, and you master action itself. Cognitive reframing begins with recognition. The scattered mind is not broken, it is habitual. It has been conditioned by years of reacting to impulse, novelty, and external demands. The first step is not frustration, it is awareness. Observe where attention drifts. Identify the triggers: social media, irrelevant conversations, wandering thoughts, internal chatter, fatigue, boredom. Recognize the moments when distraction weakens command. These are not failures, they are opportunities. Each recognition is a data point, a signal to pause, redirect, and strengthen focus deliberately. You are training. You are installing discipline. You are sovereign. Install the Focus Command Framework. Step 1. Define the target. Every task, thought, or objective requires clarity of purpose. Step 2. Segment attention into controlled blocks, focus blocks. Dedicate specific intervals of undivided attention to a single task, thought, or objective. Step 3. Monitor internal distraction. When the mind wanders, pause. Observe the impulse. Label it. Redirect attention deliberately. Step 4. Reinforce identity-based commands. I am focused. I am disciplined. I command myself. Every small choice is mental conditioning. Step 5. Expand mastery gradually. Increase focus block duration, complexity, and intensity over time. The mind is a system. Discipline is the operational principle. Practical training begins with micro-focus exercises. Begin with short intervals, 10 to 15 minutes of uninterrupted attention on one task. Remove external distraction. Observe internal distraction. Redirect. Label the impulse without judgment. Return to the task. Repeat. Gradually increase duration. Incorporate visualization. Imagine a laser beam of attention cutting through noise and distraction, illuminating only what serves your purpose. Incorporate deliberate mental pauses. Observe when mind drifts, separate, and refocus. Each repetition strengthens neural pathways that govern sustained attention. Each deliberate redirection reinforces identity. Identity separation is critical. Your wandering mind is not a reflection of weakness, it is a habit. You are not your distraction. You are the commander observing impulses and redirecting them. Repeat internally, I am not my wandering thoughts. I command my attention. I choose where my focus goes. This statement rewires perception. Automatic distraction diminishes. Deliberate attention becomes default. Energy is directed, not dissipated. Action is precise, not reactive. The inner world begins to operate with clarity over chaos, discipline over impulse. This is sovereignty in practice. Each morning, each evening, and during work, study, or personal tasks, declare, I am focused. I am disciplined. Every small choice is mental conditioning. Clarity over chaos. Discipline over impulse. Track attention lapses and victories. Assess patterns. Identify recurring triggers. Apply deliberate redirection. Over time, this becomes automatic. The mind defaults to focus. Attention becomes your servant, not your enemy. Mental energy once scattered now fuels precision, creativity, and deliberate action. Every small victory compounds into permanent cognitive authority. Once focus is strengthened, you can build resilience, the ability to maintain command under stress, distraction, and setbacks. Focus is the foundation, but resilience is the architecture. The next chapter, Building Mental Resilience, will teach how to endure, adapt, and act deliberately in high-pressure situations, transforming challenges into opportunities for mental training. By mastering attention now, you are preparing the mind to sustain authority under all circumstances. Focus is deliberate, attention is energy, and distraction is neutralized by command. Pause. Observe. Redirect. Declare authority. Every small choice is mental conditioning. Clarity over chaos. Discipline over impulse. Master the inner world, and the outer world obeys. Energy is your ally. Attention is your weapon. Distraction is no longer the enemy, it is the canvas on which you demonstrate precision, sovereignty, and identity. Direct attention deliberately. Practice with intensity. Observe without judgment. Redirect without hesitation. Every micro-decision to focus is a declaration of sovereignty. Every focus block strengthens neural discipline. Every victory against distraction reinforces identity. You are ready. Chapter 10. Building Mental Resilience. Life is relentless. It tests, it pressures, it disrupts. Challenges arrive without invitation, setbacks appear without warning, and obstacles often seem designed to overwhelm. Most people crumble under pressure. Most people allow stress, failure, and disappointment to dictate their mindset, their decisions, their identity. That ends now. You have a choice. That's the key. You don't need permission to endure. You don't need validation to rise above. Where your attention goes, your life follows. Mental resilience is not luck, it is deliberate practice. It is training. It is sovereignty under pressure. Resilience is not about avoiding adversity, it is about responding to it with control, clarity, and authority. The resilient mind does not collapse when confronted with difficulty. It does not surrender to fear or frustration. It observes, evaluates, and acts deliberately. Resilience is built in micro-decisions. The moment you pause instead of reacting, the moment you redirect energy instead of surrendering, the moment you persist instead of quitting. Every challenge is mental conditioning. Every difficulty is an opportunity to reinforce identity. You are not defined by circumstances, you are defined by command. Begin with awareness. Observe how your mind reacts under stress. Notice the subtle shifts in thought patterns, doubt, frustration, self-criticism, distraction. Observe the bodily signals, tension, tightness, restlessness, fatigue. Recognize these responses as information, not as verdicts on capability. You are not the stress. You are not the frustration. You are the observer, the commander, the one capable of deliberate action. This separation is the first pillar of resilience. You do not collapse because you recognize the storm, rather than surrender to it. Install the resilience command model. Step 1. Pause in response to stress. Step 2. Observe without reaction. Step 3. Label the internal state: fear, frustration, fatigue, doubt. Step 4. Assess the trigger: setback, criticism, unexpected change, internal expectation. Step 5. Redirect energy toward deliberate action aligned with identity and purpose. Step 6. Reinforce identity: I am resilient. I command myself. Every small choice is mental conditioning. Step 7. Reflect afterward: what worked? What could be improved? This systematic approach converts adversity into structured training. Each challenge strengthens the mind, the nervous system, and the identity itself. Cognitive reframing amplifies resilience. Every setback is information, a signal to adapt, to refine strategy, to strengthen preparation. Every criticism is feedback, an opportunity to assess alignment with identity, to act deliberately, to reinforce self-command. Pain, discomfort, and temporary failure are not obstacles, they are instruments. By reframing, you convert negative experiences into reinforcement for mental strength. This is not optimism, it is authority. It is sovereignty. It is training the mind to respond with precision rather than panic. Practical training begins with deliberate exposure to controlled stressors. Start small: a challenging task, a difficult conversation, a physically demanding exercise. Apply the resilience command model: pause, observe, label, redirect, act deliberately. Gradually increase the complexity, intensity, and unpredictability of challenges. Incorporate daily routines that build endurance: physical training, focused mental work, disciplined planning under time constraints. Each repetition strengthens neural pathways, reinforces identity, and conditions the nervous system to maintain clarity under pressure. You are not just surviving adversity, you are using it to fortify command. Identity separation is critical. Resilience is not passive endurance, it is active mastery. You are not your fear, your frustration, your fatigue, or your setbacks. You are the observer. You are the commander. You are the mind training itself under stress. Repeat internally: I am not my circumstances. I am not my setbacks. I command myself. Every small choice is mental conditioning. This statement rewires perception, transforming automatic surrender into deliberate response. You are installing identity as sovereign, unshakable, and disciplined. Stress tests this identity, it does not define it. Each morning, each evening, and during moments of challenge, reinforce: I am resilient. I command myself. Every small choice is mental conditioning. Clarity over chaos. Discipline over impulse. Review daily challenges and responses. Assess victories. Identify areas for improvement. Reflect on moments where panic, doubt, or fatigue attempted to dictate action, and where deliberate command prevailed. This journaling and reflection are not indulgence, they are tools of identity reinforcement. Over time, resilience becomes the default mode. The mind no longer collapses under pressure, it adapts, persists, and thrives. Resilience creates the foundation for controlling thought through disciplined habits. Once the mind can endure challenge, it can begin to reprogram itself systematically. The next chapter, Controlling Your Mind Through Habits, will teach how to structure routines, daily practices, and micro-decisions to shape automatic thought, reinforce identity, and fortify inner sovereignty. By building mental resilience now, you have created the capacity to integrate discipline deeply into the structure of your mind. Resilience is deliberate, challenge is opportunity, and adversity is training. Pause. Observe. Redirect. Act deliberately. Declare authority. Every small choice is mental conditioning. Clarity over chaos. Discipline over impulse. Master the inner world, and the outer world obeys. You are cultivating a mind that thrives under pressure, a nervous system that responds with precision, and an identity that cannot be shaken by external forces. Confront challenge deliberately. Redirect stress consciously. Act under pressure with clarity. Every obstacle is a tool for mastery. Every pause, observation, and deliberate response strengthens sovereignty. Every small victory reinforces identity. You are ready. Chapter 11. Controlling your mind through habits. The mind is a system. Every thought, every impulse, every decision either reinforces your authority or erodes it. Habits are the operating system of this system. They determine default patterns, shape attention, and dictate how energy flows. Most people leave their habits to chance, allowing distraction, procrastination, and reactionary patterns to run on autopilot. That ends now. You have a choice. That's the key. You don't need permission to reprogram your mind. You don't need validation to structure your life deliberately. Every habit you build is mental conditioning. Every routine you enforce is authority in action. Your daily habits sculpt your mind. Discipline is cumulative. Micro-decisions matter more than grand gestures. Each choice to act in alignment with identity reinforces control. Each lapse trains the mind to obey distraction. You are what you repeatedly do, not occasionally, not when motivated, but consistently. Habits are not mere routines, they are statements of sovereignty. They are the framework through which clarity over chaos is enforced. You command your mind by commanding what it does automatically. Cognitive reframing begins with awareness of existing patterns. Observe your daily routines. Identify where the mind drifts, where energy is wasted, and where default behaviors undermine identity. Observe triggers for distraction, avoidance, or impulsivity. These patterns are not your fault, they are conditioned, but they are fully under your control now. By observing habits without judgment and reframing them as tools rather than obstacles, you prepare the mind for deliberate restructuring. You are not reacting to habit, you are commanding it. Install the habit sovereignty system. Step 1. Audit routines: mental, physical, emotional. Step 2. Identify high-impact habits, those that either strengthen focus, resilience, and identity or weaken them. Step 3. Implement micro-discipline practices, small, deliberate actions repeated daily. Step 4. Structure triggers. Associate habits with specific cues to enforce consistency. Step 5. Track and review. Measure adherence. Adjust intensity. Reinforce identity. Step 6. Internal declaration. I command my habits. I command my mind. Every small choice is mental conditioning. This system transforms unconscious behaviors into deliberate expressions of authority. Start with micro-habits that align with identity. Examples: a 5-minute morning focus session, a single deliberate pause before reacting to frustration, a nightly reflection journaling thoughts and responses, a consistent physical training routine. Begin small, enforce consistency, then expand. Habits compound. The small, repeated actions you take daily become automatic, shaping attention, regulating emotion, and reinforcing sovereignty. Over time, the mind is conditioned to default toward deliberate action rather than distraction or surrender. Identity separation is critical. Habits are not you, they are tools. You are not defined by past failures, lapses, or automatic impulses. You are the commander who designs, implements, and enforces routines. Repeat internally: I am not my habits, I am their architect. I command my mind. Every small choice is mental conditioning. With repetition, this mindset ensures that discipline is not effort, it is default. The nervous system aligns with identity, and behavior follows authority. Habits cease being chores, they become expressions of sovereignty. Daily enforcement is non-negotiable. Reinforce identity with internal statements: I command my routines. Every action strengthens my mind. Every choice enforces clarity over chaos. Discipline over impulse. Track adherence, reflect on lapses, adjust triggers. Habits are self-reinforcing. Each deliberate choice increases momentum. Each skipped practice weakens command. Over time, consistency rewires the mind. Automatic thought patterns align with the standards you establish. Energy is directed, attention is precise, and identity is reinforced through repeated deliberate action. Once habits are aligned with identity, the mind is prepared for letting go of what cannot be controlled. Habits give structure, but not everything can be predicted or enforced. The next chapter, Letting Go, Releasing What You Cannot Control, will teach how to disengage from intrusive thoughts, external pressure, and outcomes beyond your authority, preserving mental energy and reinforcing sovereignty. By mastering habits now, you have created an architecture that allows deliberate release without surrendering control. Habits are the operating system of the mind. Structure them deliberately. Pause, observe, redirect, enforce. Every small choice is mental conditioning. Clarity over chaos. Discipline over impulse. Master the inner world, and the outer world obeys. You are no longer subject to automatic behaviors. You are the architect, the commander, the authority shaping your mental landscape with every repeated action. Design your habits deliberately. Enforce them consistently. Track, adjust, and reinforce. Every small, repeated action is proof of sovereignty. Every deliberate choice strengthens neural pathways, fortifies identity, and conditions the mind for mastery. Chapter 12, Letting Go, Releasing What You Cannot Control. Control is seductive. Most people chase it relentlessly, clinging to outcomes, circumstances, and the behavior of others as if their peace and authority depended on it. That is the trap. You cannot control external events, other people's actions, or the unpredictable flow of life. But you can control your mind, your attention, your energy, and your response. You have a choice. That's the key. You don't need permission to let go. You don't need validation to release attachment. Where your attention goes, your life follows. Letting go is not surrender, it is command. It is sovereignty. It is freedom from unnecessary internal struggle. Control what you can, release what you cannot. Every thought, every situation, every expectation you cling to is either an asset or a drain. Attachment to what is beyond your authority creates internal chaos, diminishes focus, and erodes discipline. Letting go is the practice of redirecting energy from futile struggle to deliberate action, from resistance to observation, from fixation to freedom. You do not abandon responsibility, you recalibrate attention toward what serves identity and command. Notice moments when your mind fixates on things outside your control, past mistakes, other people's opinions, imagined outcomes, uncertainties. Observe the tension it generates: frustration, anxiety, fear, distraction. Then separate yourself from it. I am not this attachment. I command myself. I choose where my attention goes. This separation is the first pillar of release. By observing without surrendering, you preserve energy, maintain clarity, and enforce authority over your mental space. Install the Release Command Protocol. Step 1. Identify what is outside your control: circumstances, other people's choices, outcomes, and random events. Step 2. Pause and observe your reaction to this lack of control. Step 3. Label the emotional impact: frustration, anxiety, irritation, helplessness. Step 4. Consciously decide to release attachment to outcome. This is not mine to command. My authority lies in my response. Step 5. Redirect energy toward deliberate action under your control: thoughts, attention, habits, and decisions. Step 6. Reinforce identity: I am sovereign. I command my mind. Every small choice is mental conditioning. This practice transforms futility into strength, and chaos into focus. Begin by listing things that trigger attachment and internal struggle: emails you cannot control, other people's behavior, the unpredictability of daily events. Pause. Observe your reaction. Label the emotional response. Consciously redirect energy toward what you can influence: your work, your habits, your attention, your response. Journal reflections afterward. Expand to larger scenarios: delays, conflict, criticism, unforeseen setbacks. Apply the Release Command Protocol consistently. Each repetition weakens the grip of futility and reinforces command over attention, energy, and identity. Identity separation is essential. Letting go does not mean weakness. It does not mean passivity. You are not your frustration. You are not your obsession over outcomes. You are the commander, observing the mind, redirecting attention, conserving energy, and acting deliberately. Repeat internally: I am not my attachments. I command my mind. Every small choice is mental conditioning. This internal language reinforces identity, rewires default responses, and prevents external circumstances from hijacking focus or discipline. You enforce sovereignty through selective engagement, not forced control. Daily reflection is critical. Each evening, review situations where attachment arose. Observe your response. Did you release what you could not control? Did you redirect energy to what was within your authority? Reinforce internal declarations. I am sovereign. I command my mind. Every small choice is mental conditioning. Clarity over chaos. Discipline over impulse. Over time, the mind naturally defaults to observation, release, and deliberate focus rather than fixation and surrender. Energy once wasted on futility now strengthens focus, resilience, and disciplined action. Once you master the release of what is beyond control, you can intentionally cultivate positive mental energy. Freed from wasted mental struggle, the mind can now be programmed with deliberate attention, empowering thoughts, and identity-aligned patterns. The next chapter, Harnessing Positive Mental Energy, will teach how to deliberately build mental fuel, focus attention on empowerment, and construct an internal sanctuary that supports sovereignty and command. By letting go now, you create the space to strengthen, energize, and optimize the mind. Control what you can, release what you cannot. Pause. Observe. Redirect. Declare authority. Every small choice is mental conditioning. Clarity over chaos. Discipline over impulse. Master the inner world, and the outer world obeys. Attachment to external outcomes diminishes. Energy is preserved. Attention is focused. Identity is reinforced. Freedom is the result of deliberate release, not passive surrender. Let go deliberately. Release attachment consciously. Redirect energy toward what is within your authority. Every thought, every expectation, every fixation is an opportunity to assert control. Every pause, every observation, every redirection strengthens identity. Chapter 13, Harnessing Positive Mental Energy. The mind is energy. Every thought, every attention focus, every choice channels this energy either toward empowerment or depletion. Most people leave this energy to chance, allowing doubt, fear, and distraction to dominate. That ends now. You have a choice. That's the key. You don't need permission to direct your energy. You don't need validation to reinforce your mental authority. Where your attention goes, your life follows. Harnessing positive mental energy is not optional. It is deliberate, identity-driven training. It is the fuel for focus, resilience, and sovereignty. Energy follows attention. The quality of your thoughts determines the quality of your mental state, actions, and results. Positive mental energy is not naive optimism. It is deliberate cultivation of empowering, disciplined, and constructive thought patterns. It is the conscious direction of internal resources toward identity, action, and command. You cannot rely on external circumstances to energize you. Your power lies in the internal system you construct, in the energy you cultivate, and in the deliberate focus you apply. Observe the flow of energy in your mind. Identify what depletes attention, focus, and emotional clarity: negative rumination, judgment, unnecessary comparison, distraction, and self-sabotage. Recognize that these patterns are optional. You do not need to feed them. Then observe moments when mental energy is constructive: deliberate planning, focus, reflection, productive work, disciplined habits. Label these streams of energy consciously. This strengthens my mind. This reinforces my command. This aligns with my identity. By doing so, you establish a mental hierarchy where empowerment is prioritized and depletion is neutralized. Install the Energy Optimization Framework. Step 1. Identify sources of mental fuel: focused work, deliberate reflection, constructive habits, empowering internal dialogue. Step 2. Implement mental anchors: visualization, affirmations, deliberate attention, gratitude, and reflection. Step 3. Neutralize energy drains: limit exposure to distraction, negative influences, unnecessary comparisons, and mental chaos. Step 4. Schedule deliberate energy allocation: plan focus blocks, reflection time, mental recovery, and disciplined routines. Step 5. Reinforce identity: I command my energy. I choose empowering thoughts. Every small choice is mental conditioning. By structuring energy consciously, You convert the mind into a powerful instrument of control, focus, and clarity. Begin with visualization. Close your eyes and imagine your mind as a reservoir of energy. Direct this energy deliberately toward focus, discipline, and constructive thought. Incorporate mental affirmation. I command my energy. I focus deliberately. I act with precision. Monitor energy drains. Notice thoughts, interactions, or distractions that reduce clarity or focus. Pause. Redirect. Consciously reclaim mental fuel. Expand to larger routines, morning mental priming, focused work sessions, reflection periods, and deliberate relaxation to recharge energy. Each exercise strengthens the mind's capacity to direct and maintain positive mental energy. Identity separation is critical. You are not the passive recipient of energy, positive or negative. You are the commander, observing patterns, directing focus, and enforcing mental standards. Repeat internally, I am not my scattered attention. I am not my depleted energy. I command my mental state. Every small choice is mental conditioning. This reinforces sovereignty over the internal system. Energy becomes a tool, not a circumstance. You act with precision rather than reaction. You cultivate mental states that support identity, command, and deliberate action. Each morning, each evening, and during work or reflection, repeat, I command my energy. I direct my attention. I focus deliberately. Every small choice is mental conditioning. Clarity over chaos. Discipline over impulse. Track moments where mental energy waned. Observe where deliberate redirection restored clarity. Reinforce internal statements. Over time, the mind defaults toward positive energy. Thought patterns align with empowerment, attention becomes precise, and mental fuel accumulates rather than dissipates. Energy is no longer scattered, it is focused, intentional, and reinforcing of identity. Once positive mental energy is cultivated, it can be integrated into daily life seamlessly. The mind can now sustain focus, resilience, and deliberate action in work, relationships, and challenges. The next chapter, Integrating Mind Control into Daily Life, will teach how to apply attention, energy, and identity-based control in real-world scenarios, turning awareness into consistent practice and results. By harnessing mental energy now, you are preparing the mind for sustained command and sovereignty across every domain of life. Energy follows attention. Positive mental energy is deliberate. Observe, redirect, and reinforce. Every small choice is mental conditioning. Clarity over chaos. Discipline over impulse. Master the inner world, and the outer world obeys. You are no longer at the mercy of fluctuating thoughts or emotions. Energy is your resource, your weapon, your fuel for identity-based action. You are sovereign. You command your mind. You direct your life. Cultivate energy deliberately. Focus attention intentionally. Neutralize drains consciously. Channel mental fuel toward identity, discipline, and deliberate action. Every thought, every pause, every deliberate redirection reinforces sovereignty. Every day becomes a training ground for mastery. Chapter 14. Integrating Mind Control into Daily Life. Knowledge alone does not change the mind. Awareness, discipline, and energy are meaningless unless applied consistently in the real world. Most people learn techniques but fail to integrate them. They practice in theory but surrender in practice. That ends now. You have a choice. That's the key. You don't need permission to act deliberately. You don't need validation to enforce your internal authority. Where your attention goes, your life follows. Integration is the final step in mastery, turning observation, control, and deliberate practice into sustained, automatic sovereignty in everyday life. Mental mastery is useless unless it is embodied. The techniques you have learned, observation, separation, focus, resilience, habit architecture, release, and energy cultivation, must become living practice. Integration is the process of converting knowledge into instinct, strategy into habit, and attention into deliberate action. This is where theory becomes identity, where awareness becomes command, and where the inner world governs the outer world seamlessly. Observe where integration fails. Notice the moments where distraction, emotional reactivity, or old patterns creep into daily life. Notice where habits are inconsistent, attention drifts, or energy is wasted. These are not failures, they are signals. Each lapse is an opportunity to pause, observe, and redirect deliberately. By reframing integration as a process of refinement rather than perfection, you preserve energy, reinforce identity, and enforce authority over your internal and external experience. You are not reactive, you are deliberate. You are not overwhelmed, you are sovereign. Install the Daily Integration Framework. Step 1. Identify real-world domains where mental mastery must operate: work, relationships, decision-making, stress, conflict, and personal growth. Step 2. Implement deliberate triggers, moments when you pause, observe, and redirect attention, energy, and thought patterns. Step 3. Reinforce identity-based statements in real time. I command myself. Every small choice is mental conditioning. Clarity over chaos. Discipline over impulse. Step 4. Monitor response patterns. Observe whether focus, composure, and deliberate action are maintained. Step 5. Adjust routines, attention allocation, and energy management as needed. Step 6. Reflect daily. Journal successes, lapses, and insights. This system transforms practice into automatic, integrated mastery. Apply observation and separation immediately in interactions: a stressful conversation, criticism, unexpected delays, or temptation to distraction. Pause. Observe the impulse. Label it. Redirect energy and attention deliberately. Apply focus in small tasks, work assignments, problem solving, study, or physical performance. Reinforce habits through repetition and reflection, consistent journaling, deliberate planning, and daily mental conditioning. By applying learned techniques in micro-situations, mastery scales naturally into larger, more complex scenarios. Identity separation remains critical. You are not your circumstances. You are not external pressure, emotional upheaval, or societal expectation. You are the commander of perception, attention, and action. Repeat internally: I am not my environment. I command my mind. Every small choice is mental conditioning. This statement reinforces sovereignty and ensures that integration is grounded in identity rather than external validation. Life becomes the training ground, and every situation becomes a deliberate opportunity to practice command. Daily reflection is essential. Each evening, review scenarios where techniques were applied. Observe victories, moments of lapse, and energy allocation. Reinforce identity: I command my mind. I act deliberately. Every small choice is mental conditioning. Clarity over chaos. Discipline over impulse. Over time, integration becomes automatic. Observation, separation, energy management, and focus no longer require conscious effort. They operate as default behaviors embedded in identity. The mind no longer reacts to circumstance. It commands itself in every domain. Once integration is fully operational, the mind is prepared for final mastery, living freely, intentionally, and without surrender to internal chaos or external pressure. The next chapter, Mastery of the Mind, Living Freely and Intentionally, will teach full identity integration, psychological sovereignty, and deliberate self-command, culminating in total freedom from distraction, doubt, and limitation. By integrating techniques now, you have built a mind that is capable of effortless, deliberate, and identity-aligned operation. Mastery is embodied. Integration is deliberate. Observe, pause, redirect, enforce. Every small choice is mental conditioning. Clarity over chaos. Discipline over impulse. Master the inner world, and the outer world obeys. You are no longer practicing in theory, you are acting in reality. Every interaction, every task, every decision reinforces sovereignty, attention, and mental authority. Life becomes a reflection of internal mastery. Apply techniques deliberately. Observe without surrender. Redirect energy and attention consciously. Reinforce habits, focus, and resilience in every situation. Every challenge is an opportunity for practice. Every decision is an expression of identity. Every day strengthens command. You are ready. Chapter 15, Mastery of the Mind, Living Freely and Intentionally. You have trained. You have observed. You have paused, redirected, and reinforced. You have strengthened focus, built resilience, controlled habits, released attachment, and cultivated energy. You have integrated mental mastery into daily life. Now it is time for the final step, full sovereignty, the deliberate, effortless, and intentional command of your mind. This is where mastery becomes identity. This is where the mind no longer reacts, but acts. This is where freedom emerges, not from circumstance, but from internal authority. You have a choice. That's the key. You don't need permission to live intentionally. You don't need validation to claim full command. Where your attention goes, your life follows. Mastery of the mind is total integration. It is the synthesis of observation, focus, resilience, habit, energy, release, and deliberate action. It is living every moment intentionally, aligned with identity, and free from the tyranny of thought patterns, impulses, and distractions. The mastered mind does not succumb to fear, doubt, or external pressure. It does not surrender to chaos. It commands, observes, acts deliberately, and continuously reinforces sovereignty. Every choice, every pause, every action reflects authority over the inner world. Master the inner world, and the outer world obeys. Cognitive reframing finalizes this mastery. Understand that all prior steps, focus, resilience, habits, release, energy, were preparation. They were conditioning, training, and structure for one purpose: intentional living. Obstacles, failure, setbacks, and uncertainty are not threats, they are instruments to enforce command. Pain, frustration, and discomfort are tools for identity reinforcement. Life itself is the arena where sovereignty is exercised. The mind, once reactive, is now proactive. The inner narrative is controlled. Attention, energy, and action are deliberate. You no longer drift, you direct. Install the sovereign mind system. Step 1. Daily practice of observation. Pause, watch, label, and redirect automatically without conscious effort. Step 2. Automatic habit execution. Routines, microdecisions, and energy management are default behaviors, reinforcing identity continuously. Step 3. Conscious energy allocation. Mental fuel is directed deliberately toward growth, focus, and constructive action. Step 4. Continuous reflection. Evaluate outcomes, refine internal language, adjust triggers, and reinforce internal authority. Step 5. Deliberate alignment. Ensure every thought, word, and action reflects the identity of command, clarity, and sovereignty. Step 6. Internal declaration. I am the commander of my mind. Every small choice is mental conditioning. Clarity over chaos. Discipline over impulse. This system turns every day into deliberate practice and identity reinforcement. Practical training now becomes effortless. Observe thought without attachment. Focus attention automatically on what matters. Respond to challenge with resilience. Execute habits without conscious effort. Release what cannot be controlled without resistance. Cultivate energy without depletion. Reflect deliberately and refine constantly. Life itself becomes the training ground for mastery, and mastery becomes effortless because it is identity, not technique. You no longer practice, you act. You no longer react, you command. Every micro-decision reinforces sovereignty. Every deliberate pause strengthens authority. Every response is intentional. Identity separation reaches its final expression. You are not your thoughts. You are not your impulses. You are not fear, anxiety, distraction, or doubt. You are the commander, the observer, the sovereign authority of your internal world. Repeat internally, I am not my mental patterns. I am the authority. I command my mind. Every small choice is mental conditioning. This statement is no longer practice, it is reality. The mind operates automatically under deliberate direction. Clarity replaces chaos. Discipline replaces impulse. Energy aligns with purpose. Attention flows with precision. You are free. You are sovereign. You are intentional. Daily reflection and review are no longer optional, they are reinforcement. Every morning, affirm your sovereignty. I command my mind. Every small choice is mental conditioning. Clarity over chaos. Discipline over impulse. Master the inner world, and the outer world obeys. Each day, assess where mastery held and where refinement is needed. Reinforce successes, adjust triggers, and strengthen identity language. Over time, mastery becomes default. The mind no longer drifts, reacts, or surrenders. It executes with precision, focus, and authority in every domain. Mastery is integration. Sovereignty is deliberate. Observation, focus, energy, habits, release, and reflection are automatic. Every small choice reinforces identity. Clarity over chaos. Discipline over impulse. Master the inner world, and the outer world obeys. You are free from internal tyranny. You are intentional. You are commanding life, not reacting to it. The inner world governs the outer world. Every thought, every action, every response is deliberate. You are complete in command. Live intentionally. Act deliberately. Observe without attachment. Direct energy consciously. Enforce habits automatically. Release what cannot be controlled. Reflect and refine. Every moment is a training ground. Every choice reinforces identity. Every breath, every action, every thought becomes a declaration of sovereignty. You are no longer a passenger, you are the commander. You are ready. You have now reached full mastery of the mind. You have learned to defeat your mental demons, control your attention, manage energy, build resilience, release attachment, and cultivate empowering habits. You are free from internal chaos. You are deliberate, sovereign, and intentional. Your mind is your greatest ally, your most powerful tool, and your unwavering authority. Command it fully, act consistently, and live intentionally every day. If you have gained clarity, empowerment, and control from this audiobook, take action now. Like this video, subscribe to the channel, and reinforce your commitment to mastering your mind. Ask yourself, what will you do today to strengthen your sovereignty and reinforce your identity? The answer is the first deliberate step toward continued mastery.